Hello and welcome to Caffeine Entertainment. I'm Mental9R, he's Fin1010, and this is the very first GMX Hot Take. Today our topic will be, why do cheaters cheat? Why do cheaters cheat, Finn?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess the first thing we should mention is what prompted this conversation. We were looking at that article
Absolutely.
that Activision had brought up, or we'd seen on Activision, um, and it was going on about they want to catch and remove cheaters who are playing Call of Duty within 1 hour, which seems incredible. But they're using AI to do it. I assume by recognizing patterns of play or things that shouldn't be possible, or maybe repeated things that shouldn't be possible. So they're going to use AI to catch these people and try to ban them. And I think one thing that we were both wondering is, and I'd be interested in your opinion. Do you think it's worth Activision spending apparently millions to do this?
Okay, well, yes, I think it is worth it because I used to host servers. I ran servers for many, many years as part of my job, oddly enough. I looked after four game servers that were running Quake 2 back in the day, and then Quake 3, and then eventually flipped to Counter Strike. And the battle against cheaters was seemingly never ending. It was a lot of work to try and stay ahead of that. I mean, Valve introduced their own anti cheat. I wrote multiple scripts that would, capture the Valve logs and then pick out WAN IDs back in the day and auto ban players, and then I'd flag different people for reviews of the game footage that would get captured, and it was a lot of work to try and fight off the cheating element that was out there. Now that said, it's not like we were catching people every day either,
Mhm.
but when you did have a cheater that got into your lobbies and was driving people crazy, you start losing your player base, and they start looking for new servers to play on because, hey, these guys aren't doing anything about cheating. I would say, in the years, and it was years, it was probably probably 5 6 years that I did this for. It was probably only actually had to ban, like permaban, 50 people over
Yeah.
that time. Really annoying cheaters. So yeah, I do think it's worth it, and I think using AI to do it is a smart way to move at this point in
Yeah.
technology.
It's very similar, I think, to using AI to help QA games, for example. Like there
Yeah,
is so many different variations and possibilities that can happen that it's almost impossible for human beings to watch all of these. It's impossible for that many people to be monitored by a similar amount of human beings. Well, I guess it's possible, but it's just not practical. And I agree with you entirely for the reason for cheating or for banning cheaters rather, and the reason why Activision is uh, so invested in it. It isn't necessarily for any moral reasons, but as you say, like it's not fun for other gamers to play when people are cheating. You don't want to play anymore, right? Like if you feel like you're trying to play the game
yeah.
properly, you're trying to compete with other people on a level playing base or playing field rather, and other people have an unfair advantage, well, you stop playing. So Activision are protecting their business by stopping these people and by pursuing them in the courts as well, which I wasn't aware they're doing it. They're not pursuing individuals in the courts, but they are pursuing people who are developing the software and I guess profiting from developing the software in the courts, which makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, I think it's a not only is it worthwhile, it's necessary if they want people to enjoy their games.
Yeah.
I,
Now, apparently, Activision was already working with this technology during the open beta for uh, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and they're saying they collected a fair amount of data already. Uh, it's an interesting concept. Now, can't remember when I read this. Did they? I think it's server side only is where the AI resides. I don't think there's going to be anything effectively on the consoles or on the PCs,
I don't believe so. I
which
don't
was
think they didn't go into that much detail in this article, I don't think, but I would assume that is the case. But they should have enough data on the server side to be able to figure out. Maybe it does. Okay, let me correct that. I wouldn't be surprised if it does collect some telemetry on the individual consoles and it sends it back to Activision. I think the only problem for Activision there is that you may be reliant on people agreeing to do that because typically when you want EA or Activision or any of these companies to take data from your console, you usually have to agree to that. So
Yeah.
maybe they have some kind of workaround to that, but either which way, I think by looking at the servers, you should be able to gather enough data as well to make reasonably intelligent choices.
I mean, it sounds kind of like, I mean, I used to be a pretty good PvP player back in the day when I was running the servers. And, occasionally you do make those godlike shots that I got accused of cheating quite often. But I was just a good player. I knew everything about Counter-Strike in the day. I knew how to, strafe sideways, jump, land perfectly stable with an AWP, and shoot the guy in the head that's in the window. Like I could do those crazy moves, but the way they're tracking it, or the sounds like what they're doing anyways, they've got data on how the god tier players play from their leagues.
Mm-hmm.
They know how poor players play. They know how medium skilled players play. And the AI's been trained with that data and they know how a human behaves.
Yeah.
When you start using a cheat, it becomes quite obvious, especially like what we used to do. We would take that game capture of that person playing, and then we would go offline and we would watch that player with cheats enabled on a different system. And then you could see them tracking people through walls. You could see the behaviors they were doing that looked odd in game were
Mm-hmm.
validated easily. You could see then, because you could watch from their point of view, see exactly what they're looking at. And you could see how an aimbot would suddenly pull the gun over to the person's head instantly and shoot them. And that's the type of behavior the AI would be looking for.
Yeah, and what you described there is exactly what the point I was making in terms of it not being practical for a game of this size for
Exactly.
individuals to do that, right? I mean, so you
Yeah.
had to take the data afterwards, look at it offline with probably some other people, enable things. They can do all this live with AI, essentially the equivalent of probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people watching the game, i.e., these AI bots watching you play and then making
Yeah.
instant analysis. And within 1 hour, so they claim, they have enough data to figure out that this person is cheating and we want to ban them.
Yeah.
So,
And I can believe it could do that easily within an hour.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, we would take, 20 minutes of gameplay and you could
yeah,
make a determination, just even on a few questionable things that you would see in a match if you were playing against this person. We'd always temp ban them. And then if we looked at it and went, oh, actually, no, that was legit. It was just a fluke or
yeah.
whatever, because you can tell. Like I used to get accused of cheating because I would kill people through walls all the time. The reason I could do that, though, was with an AWP, it would shoot through walls and kill people. I couldn't see them. I didn't even know if there was somebody there, but I knew the game so well. I knew where people hid. I knew where people would crouch all the time and hide behind a box. I knew that on certain maps, people would always run down this hallway right at spawn, so I would sprint over to that spot, line up, and just start shooting through the wall and get 3 or 4 kills
Mm-hmm.
because people are like lemmings. They run down the center of the hallway. I knew where that center of the hallway was on that wall.
So,
And that just came from experience, but I'd get accused of cheating.
so to move on from this, then, so I think we both agree cheating is bad. Activision should stop it.
Yep.
Why do you think people do this in the first place? And I want to differentiate something as well. And maybe you don't think that there's a difference in moral equivalency. I think there is, but I do feel like there's a difference in cheating in single player games, like, or let's say cheating, I say taking advantage of exploits within the game versus when you're playing against other human beings. I do not mind in a single player game, like if there's a way you can make lots of money. Like I gave you an example when we were talking before about Starfield. I stopped outside a space station, and for whatever reason, everyone started killing each other. Like there was hundreds of ships, they're all shooting at each other, and I was just slowly driving around, picking up the loot, especially from whatever that banking organization was called within Starfield. They would have like 20,000 credits or whatever in their hold, and I would just pick it up. And I was doing that like for probably like 15 minutes, 20 minutes before like I got bored. I know
You
you're
disgust me.
yes. But and I had enough money
Ah, I
thereafter
thought
to
I knew who you were.
yeah, well there you go. We're on very good
Filthy
start.
cheater.
The horns are coming up. But yeah, I actually don't mind that. I don't have a problem with that. You're not spoiling anyone's fun other than your own,
Yep.
and you're saving yourself. You know as well as I do. One of the things you have to do in games like Starfield is a lot of grinding sometimes to get the credits you want, and to me, it's just equivalent, let's say, to grinding if you find an exploit that you can take advantage of. Now,
Yep.
so I do
I can
differentiate
relate
between
to that.
PvP versus single player games.
Yeah, I mean the loot cave in Destiny 1. I farmed that from being level 13 to level 20. Just farming the loot cave. I mean, there was a crowd there 24/7 at the loot cave, everybody doing the same thing. It got to a point where, Bungie got mad and they disabled the loot cave.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people doing that. A lot of my friends on PS4 came from me meeting them at the loot cave, you know,
And
and
I don't even mind that
wasn't
actually.
hurting anyone.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I don't even mind that. Like when again Bethesda they close a loop, I'm like, ah well, it was good while it lasted, right? Like that's still
Yeah,
my attitude. I don't feel butthurt about it or whatever. If I got some advantage out of it, if I got some fun out of it, as you say, I'm fine with it. But then we look at the PvP, and that is different in my mind for a
yeah,
bunch of reasons, but primarily because you're playing against other people. It's meant to be for fun and for
yeah.
competition, and you're trying to game the system literally in order to get an advantage over them. And why do you think people do it?
Oh man, I think some of them it's because they're not very good
Mm-hmm.
and they probably get tired of getting beat up on all the time and they want to seek some revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somehow psychologically it makes them feel better to go out and do that. Other people, I think, they just don't care enough and they just think it's fun
Yeah,
to cause people grief. They call them griefers, right? For a reason. Uh, I don't know. I mean, there's probably how many pro players have outed themselves and got caught cheating because they had a cheat enabled that was visible on screen while they were streaming. Um, so
well,
there's that too. You can make money out of it.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I think that actually what you just mentioned there is key because, when you say like elite gamers, the other
yeah.
thing that goes with elite gamers as well as potentially cash rewards is status. I think a lot of
Yes.
people are getting some level of social status within a small community. Say, oh, this guy is really good. And it's probably people who lack a bit of self confidence, in all honesty. They are looking for
Yep.
maybe, you hear about people. These website warriors who complain about everything on YouTube or say they'd kick your ass, but if they met you in the street, would shirk away, right? And so
They're five
it's
foot two and
yeah,
100 pounds soaking wet.
and out there for everyone who's 5'2" and
Yeah.
100
Sorry about
pounds,
that.
we love you all, but
Yes.
nonetheless, and I'm only 5'2", so am I. Um, but
Yeah.
but either which way, yeah, I think a lot of it has got to do with the social, I guess, the perceived social clout that comes with, I'm better than you guys, being able to insult other people because, and maybe something they don't get an opportunity to do in everyday life because they're kind of losers, honestly. Because honestly, it's kind of pathetic. You think about
Apologies to all the losers out there.
it. Yeah. And especially the most
Yeah.
pathetic of you, the most pathetic losers,
Yes.
we really do apologize. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that you're getting to your point. It's fun, I guess. You're getting kind of some kind of dopamine hit, and I think it's a way for making up for other inadequacies. Honestly,
Yeah. It's. I mean, I can think of examples. I was playing one of somebody that I knew and I thought was just generally a pretty good player.
Mm.
And when I first realized he was cheating for sure was when he played Counter Strike for the first time, and he was the best guy in the game. Going from Quake 2 to Counter Strike doesn't translate. They're entirely different games. It took me probably 2 months to really get good at Counter Strike after moving from Quake 2. And he was just instantly the best guy.
Hmm.
Did some gameplay recording, he was cheating.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I think it was because he wasn't as good as, or he knew he wasn't as good as his image was
Yeah.
in Quake. He had this image of being good in Quake. I now know it was because he used to cheat without people knowing. When he moved to Counter Strike, he probably played a few games without us, got his ass kicked, and then moved to cheating.
Yeah. I do think though it's in general though, and again to reiterate, I do think it's just a social status thing that primarily, maybe a little bit as well as to as you say, revenge. But I do think it's really about the plaudits or people thinking you're good at something when you're really not, and feeling like. And the other thing is that there's really, like, unlike other areas of life where you can cheat people but you might get caught, there's very little repercussions to doing it in gaming, right? You're not gonna suffer a
Yeah.
financial hit or end up in jail because you're
Yeah.
cheating, whereas in other areas in life you may do. So I think it uncovers, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but I think it uncovers a little bit of lack of character in people, quite honestly,
Yeah.
that you may not see in other areas, because they would worry, like, well, if I rob this person or if I take this thing, I might get caught. So yeah, kind of pathetic if you ask me. I think there's reasons to do it, but or there's reasons behind it rather. But don't do it in PvP. And good on Activision for spending all this money, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think that's the end game here. And I know Opera was working on something similar. I heard about it. I think it's got to be over a year ago. Something to do with their Opera GX browser and how they were using AI to combat cheating, or at least they were backing a company that was investigating it or something. I can't remember all the details. I should know this. Finn and I were actually talking about that before the show. We got to get our details straight so that when we talk about something, we can actually speak to the facts. And here I am not doing that, so I apologize. But if you look it up, you can probably just Google it. But anyway, it's
As you could have done before the show.
as I could have done if I'd have done my homework. I'd have been prepared, and it would have been more professional. But it is what it is. So I agree. I think AI is probably going to be the way of the future to actually combat this. The concept of building a player profile feels a little bit creepy, a little bit intrusive, maybe even. But at the end, if it stops cheating, I guess maybe it's worth it.
Yeah, and I guess just to finish off, like, because we've spoken about AI a couple times in the past, and we both said we prefer AI not to be used in certain situations. This is a
Yeah,
situation where I think it's completely validated, or
yeah.
completely valid rather.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm curious to see how it deals with drop shot hack cheats and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, console players can use that with different devices that plug in and stuff on the controllers, and you can buy modded controllers that do drop shot, and it's widely used in games like CoD. So it'll be interesting to see how it combats that and picks up on it, because it's kind of like a one button press and you automatically drop to the ground and get a headshot. It's pretty good, right?
I wonder
So
if maybe, and maybe this is going too far, but I wonder if Activision publishing the names of these cheaters, or the gamer tags of these cheaters, that would be a repercussion. They probably don't want to get
yeah,
sued, though.
yeah, I don't think they'll do that, but I think just banning them is a step in the right direction and take the fun away. I mean, especially like imagine, especially in this day and age with everything being digital, if you get banned from Steam, you lose
Yeah.
your entire account. If you get banned from Xbox or PlayStation, you lose all your games. I don't think, to me, it's not worth the risk. I don't know why anyone would want to risk it. I think it's burner accounts that get used on PC, which makes it a little bit easier to get away with, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't think I have anything else to say on this.
No, don't cheat,
So,
cheaters.
yeah, cheaters, don't cheat. There, we said it. Just don't. Anyway, Finn, your favorite part of the show? Tell them
Fintintin.
where they can reach you.
With a one instead of the I on X, Fintintin on Sony PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox and Steam.
Steam, Steam, Steam. And I am at Mental9R on X. I am Mental9R on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and just about anywhere else you can play games. The only place I'm not Mental9R, well, actually, that's not true. I do have a YouTube channel that's Mental9R. It's just there's nothing there because it's all here on Caffeine Entertainment. So yeah, one more time, I'm Mental9R. He's Fin1010. This is Caffeine Entertainment, and it's our first hot take. Thanks for joining us. And if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, or you haven't seen us before, and you enjoyed the show, please feel free to hit those two buttons and come back and see us again. Thanks again. We're out.